Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Michael Ayala. It is time now for today's Talkback segment. Each day we post a question on Court TV's social media pages. We gather your comments and questions and then respond right here on the show. Now, after being acquitted in the shooting death of Chad Olson inside a movie theater, Curtis Reeves gave a media interview. So we asked you out there, do you feel like Curtis Reeves was the real victim? Still with me, former trial and appellate attorney, Dr. Tracy A. Pearson. Now, Doctor, before we actually get to our first comments, let's look back at Curtis Reeves' time on the stand when he testified in his own defense.
At some point in time while you were viewing those previews, did you notice a light shining in the theater?
Yes, sir, I did. I noticed off to my right, who turned out to be Mr. Olson's left shoulder, was a cell phone. I waited to see if he would put it away, if he was interested in what was on the screen or not. And it never went away. So I would lean over to get a little bit closer to him so that I didn't have to yell at him. I said, would you mind turning your phone off, sir?
If you wanted to at that point, you could have just gone right to the manager and not had any contact with Mr. Olson, right?
I would think that you just ask somebody and they would normally put it away. Get the out of my face was the response that I got back.
Can you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury exactly what you told the manager?
I'm a guy complaining on another guy. I said, but I've got a guy sitting in front of me that is using his cell phone, and I said, I don't feel comfortable talking to this guy again. Could you help me out? He's still talking loudly, and he's facing away from me.
So we have the first time that you lean forward to talk about the cell phone. The second time is when you lean forward telling that you're going to the manager. Now we have a third time where you're leaning forward to basically tell him that you told on him. And obviously you didn't perceive yourself as a vulnerable person.
I don't think it had anything to do with being vulnerable.
I agree with you.
He had turned and was on his feet. I'm looking up at this guy and he looked like a monster standing there. Something between me and the theater screen that I saw just a flash of a reflection off of. Then everything went kind of fuzzy.
Did you believe at that point that you had been hit?
Yes, sir, I did.
And you're indicating in this statement that you were hit so hard that you were dazed.
Dazed, surprised, shocked. All those things would fit that, yes, sir. At some point after he's reached either trying to come over the seat or tried to hit me, I had no other choice, and I reached for my pistol. I never saw the popcorn until I saw it on the floor. I had no idea what had happened to the popcorn, but I was aware that he was trying to grab a hold of me.
Okay, so
and then he pitched it back. I'm not sure I saw that, but I did see him coming over the seat with his fist. Okay. At the instant he got shot.
Did you ever find the need while you were a law enforcement officer at TPD to have to use your weapon, fire your weapon?
No, sir.
In the line of duty?
They try to provide training programs for you so that you can kind of get your feet on the ground and try to keep from becoming a victim and be alert and all the things that you have to do to survive and make it home every afternoon.
Did you shoot Mr. Olson because of popcorn?
I shot Mr. Olson because I thought he was going to seriously injure me or potentially kill me.
And you said, as I'm sitting back in here, I'm second guessing myself.
Oh, yes,
Did he
sir.
even hit me?
Yes, sir. I've second guessing it for the last 8 years.
All right, Dr. Pearson, our first comment comes from Stephen Hills. Stephen says, why do some people, not all, feel the need to speak out after they have killed someone in a situation they started? This guy is no victim, nor was he about to be a victim. The victim is dead. Now you're going to go on TV shows so you can talk about it? This is disgusting. And you know what's interesting? First and foremost, let me just check in with you because I don't think I've had the opportunity to do so. Were you shocked at this verdict?
I was shocked. I was angry. And frankly, I treated the judge's comments and demeanor after the trial as sort of the disgust that I was feeling. I couldn't believe that this happened.
Yeah, it was incredible. I think many people agree with you, including me. But going back to Stephen Hill's comment, I think it's part of a larger issue here that I've felt, and I think a lot of other people online have clearly expressed, that Vivian and Mr. Reeves have not showed any remorse at all about this incident. And that's what I was referring to before regarding Vivian's comment. It's almost she's like, move on from Chad, lady. Find yourself somebody new. I don't know. Just this whole thing with remorse, I don't see any of it from this couple.
You know, if I had to put a theme on this case, it would be bad judgment. And he exhibited bad judgment, Mr. Reeves, all the way through to the end. Yeah. And so did his wife. Frankly, the evidence demonstrated that the wife refuted her husband's account of what happened that day. So that's the other reason why I'm so shocked about this. But the lack of empathy, you know, the fact that Mrs. Olson was just lost her husband. You know, and it still feels like just to her, even though it was 8 years ago. She watched him violently get killed in front of her and was injured herself in a way that she'll remember forever. It was her wedding. It was where her wedding ring would sit. It was that finger. So it was classless on their part.
Yeah, we often forget she was a victim as well during this shooting. Our next comment comes from Nikki Mijan. She says, yes, unfortunate situation on both sides, but I saw this as elder intimidation, and Reeves was in fear. And again, I just felt like, as you mentioned, even the testimony of Vivian Reeves didn't support him, and the stuff that was important she just couldn't remember, which really didn't seem credible to me. Just the situation he was in. What do you think this jury was focused on? Is that what this was about? Was this about elder versus an age issue? Do you think this is what the jury focused on?
You know, I not being in the room, I'm just guessing, but this jury was subjected to hours of a closing argument by a defense lawyer that meandered everywhere. This trial went on forever, and I think they wanted to go home. Studies have shown that juries that are of smaller number, and I know that we were all trying to figure out why did they choose only 6 jurors instead of going with the 12? Well, studies have shown that groups of 6, the smaller juries, will ignore norms in the community. And so I think that's what we saw in this situation, was that they simply just wanted it over with, and they didn't want to hold them accountable.
That's incredible. That is a fantastic point, and it could absolutely be what happened here. All right, thank you so much, Dr. Tracy Pearson. Always appreciate you being on the show. We'll have you back on again soon. I'm Michael Ayala. It's been a pleasure being with you tonight. Up next in Closing Arguments, Vinnie Politan takes a look at the biggest moments in today's pretrial motion hearing with Ryan Duke. So keep it right here on your front row seats, Jess.
Monthly payment and find the car you need all on your phone.